Welcome in, Retriever fans, to the UMBC Baseball Weekly Report, Volume 3. Head coach Liam Bowen with me here, recapping the week that was and previewing the week that will be for UMBC Baseball. Coach, welcome in. Thanks for taking time today.
Yeah, Dave, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So, conference play got opened up this weekend. UMass Lowell came to town, went 1-3. The Retrievers 6-3, 1-3 in the America East early on in the year here as we head towards the latter part of March. Just kind of give a quick recap of the Lowell series, getting into conference play now from here through the rest of the season.
Sure. Obviously, we were disappointed with the result. I think only winning one game in a conference series on your home field, we expect to be better. And I think we can grow and be better. Full credit to UMass Lowell. Thought they played well. Thought they had played a tough schedule coming in. And, I thought they were really competitive from the first inning to the last and a really good challenge. For us, I think we learned a lot about our team and where we need to grow. We've been off to a hot start. Some things had fallen into place. And, I think you don't always learn as much from those games. You learn from the games where you're maybe a little disappointed in yourself and you have to look in the mirror and see where you can get better. And we got a taste of that this weekend. I thought game one, we played well. I thought Reed Salata obviously gave us a great start. And game four was really competitive, like a typical America East game, back and forth. We had a chance to win it at the end, just couldn't quite get one more hit. But that's how college baseball goes. I thought games 2 and 3, obviously, we just weren't able to get out of the blocks, particularly on the pitching and defense side of the ball. And we were punished for that by a good opponent. And that's what's going to happen over the course of the year. So, grateful that we were able to open the conference season with somebody that was able to expose some areas where we need to get better. And I anticipate it's going to give us a great week of practice as we head into Maine. So long year, though, and longer than most. It's a 40-game conference season, which is the longest I've ever been a part of at any level. So it's certainly something that we can recover from and continue to kind of build our teams to play our best baseball in May.
And kind of going off of that, you have a lot of newer guys to the program, haven't really played in an America East game because of last year getting shut down right before conference play would have started. Just kind of give the fans just the kind of the signs that you saw from the guys as they got their first conference play underway. Will that help now going forward, knowing what to expect in this conference, knowing that you have to be ready each and every game, each and every weekend for what is a pretty strong mid-major league?
Absolutely. And I think this is a group that's going to show value for that experience. I'm really confident in that. The timeline is going to be what it's going to be. It's going to take time for us to develop and grow in the way that we aim to. But every time we get a chance to go out there and play in these really high-level competitive games where, you have to play clean and mistakes are punished, that's only going to make us better. Because the point you make is exactly right. We have because of the nature of last year and some turnover in our roster, we have very few America East veterans. And I think, particularly Lowell this weekend, I thought a lot of their veteran guys were really good for them and really made a difference in the series. And as we accumulate that experience, I expect our guys to be difference makers for us. So we weren't quite up to that challenge for most of the series this time, but that's something that I really expect that we can develop and make better because our guys are really hardworking and we have a lot of guys who are students of the game who are going to learn from this.
And you mentioned Reed Salata a little bit earlier. Game one starter, complete game, 3 hits, 2 runs. He's 3-0 to start the year. He's had a really strong start. Just kind of talk about his growth from when he first got here to where he is now and what he's doing so far this season that's really got him to where he's at.
Yeah, he's a great example of kind of what I'm talking about. A guy, you talk about value for his experience. He pitched some as a freshman. Mixed bag, showed some good, had some struggles, like the vast majority of freshmen in college baseball. Went away to the Valley League the next summer and I think really grew in that experience. He was all Valley League and really put it a new emphasis on the strength and conditioning piece, really committed to that, dedicated himself to that. And since then, he's just continued to get better. He's gotten much more consistent with his secondary pitches this year, which I think has allowed him to take another step. But the thing we really value about Reed is just so consistent and so reliable. And I don't just mean that because he's 3-0 and had 3 good performances. I mean that because of the way he shows up every day. He's He's a great practice player. He's a great teammate when he's not pitching. I thought he was unbelievable in our dugout on Sunday and a great leader for our pitching staff. So he's just his success is a testament to his consistency and how he's again really committed himself to doing what it takes day to day, not just on the days that he pitches. So really proud of him and obviously a guy that I think is going to help us the rest of the way.
And going off of that 4-game conference series, a lot of innings need to be played. A lot of innings need to be pitched. You got to see a lot of different guys coming out of the bullpen that haven't really played this year, have only pitched a few innings or a handful of batters. What did you see from the bullpen, and how good was it to get those guys that experience this weekend now as you move forward deeper into conference play?
Sure. Definitely great to get them in. I think getting the guys blooded in and getting them used to that atmosphere and that level of competition is always really good. I would say it's a mixed bag at times. I thought we were good out of the bullpen. There's some performances that I thought were strong. I thought Greg Albert at the end of Game 4 comes to mind. I thought he was really solid for us and, gave us, I think it was 8 outs and, was able to land all of his stuff. The big thing for me is I'm really confident in our pitching staff, even though it's been up and down so far because of what I've seen in inter squads and in practice. So far, I think our offensive numbers are really good. Our pitching numbers aren't as good. I think people would be surprised if they would come to it, or if they had come to our scrimmages in the preseason in the fall, how even those were and how there were many days where the pitchers really had the upper hand at times. When we played our Fall World Series, every game was low scoring, every game was clean. It's just going to be a matter of trusting that training in these competitive situations because, yes, the environment's different, but only when we choose to make it different. I think our pitchers, as we can, continue to mature and make the choices that we need to make in terms of trusting our training in those competitive spots, I think we're going to see better results. So, like I said, up and down, bit of a mixed bag. Some guys, were bringing what they practiced into the game. Other guys, it was a little choppier, but that's something, over the course of 15 years coaching college baseball, that's something I've seen get better over the course of the season. And we certainly anticipate that to turn around pretty quickly.
And then still, like we've talked about every week, it seems like there's a different guy from the plate that's stepping up that has a big weekend. Ryan Brown came off the bench for you in Game 4, had the first hit of the game late in the game, was a home run, really kind of sparked you guys in Game 4 for that comeback. Kind of talk about what he brings to the team. When he first came in, started a bunch of games, played a lot, and then you saw his time kind of diminish, but he always seems to give you what you need when he gets into the game.
Yeah, Brown is a vet, and a guy that certainly he packs a lot of power into a relatively compact frame, and certainly is dangerous coming off the bat or coming off the bench with one swing of the bat. We've seen that a couple times already this year. He's a guy that's struggled with some injuries, which I think has impacted him, but he does a great job at taking care of himself and a great job of making himself available to give us what he can. A guy who in his time away from the field is really on top of his nutrition, really on top of any of the physical therapy that he's had to do. And that's allowed him to make some of these contributions. So again, it's similar to Reed Salata at a different position where his consistency of approach has given him an opportunity to be a bit of a weapon for us. And, in the right matchup, when he's feeling good, if we can sneak him in there, he can definitely put a charge into our offense. We've already seen that this year.
And then another guy, Nolan Charlton, in Game 4, had a bunch of good hits, even all day on Sunday, provided a lot of offense for you. He's really kind of getting his feet wet into the college game. Last year, he had a shortened season, but he really is a guy that's really starting to step up. Talk about what you've seen out of him, a guy who really started to spark that comeback in Game 4 with a bunch of good timely hits.
Yeah, I thought he played really well this weekend. I was really encouraged with him. That got injured this fall, just a collision in a scrimmage where he hurt his shoulder. So his preseason was impacted, was kind of just getting up to game speed as the season started. And then in BP on Saturday, Luke Belanger fouled the ball off his foot, one of our infielders. So we were down an infielder there, and Nolan was able to step up like I knew he would, just because even though we haven't gotten a chance to play him a lot in games with COVID and, the way the schedule and the seasons have been impacted, I see him every day, and he's a guy who just gives us a ton of energy. And a ton of competitive spirit. I thought he was one of the guys across 4 games in 2 days, which is a lot of baseball, who was absolutely buzzing, in the 9th inning of Game 4. And I was impressed by that, his level of energy that when we called his name, he was ready to deliver. So definitely a guy that is, a big part of our team, and I think going to make some big contributions for us going forward the rest of the season.
And then you get your first true road weekend tests of the year this week against Maine, next week against Albany. Getting back out on the road, what's it going to take to keep the Retrievers focused, keep them engaged? It's a little bit different than years past with all the protocols and everything you got to go through.
Sure. And I'm not as concerned about maintaining these protocols because our sports medicine staff does a fabulous job of making sure the guys are informed of what we need to do and that we're always doing the things we need to do to stay healthy. So this will be no different, just, a little bit of a wrinkle in that we're going to be moving around the East Coast. And, I think the road series in some ways, if you approach them right, they can be an advantage. It's an opportunity to bring the team together for an extended period of time. It's an opportunity to really eliminate some of the distractions of home. I think a mature team approaches those road series as an opportunity, not necessarily a hurdle or something that has to be endured, but as a chance to go away and do our job, essentially. So that's the approach that we're going to take. There's a lot of guys who are going to be playing in their first America East road series, but we have all week to prepare for it. There are no midweek games this year, and we'll make sure the group is focused. There's no doubt.
And then the weather's starting to change for the better. Fans are back at Alumni Field. Spring training is here. The baseball season, MLB season is right around the corner. At least for me, it feels like there's a little bit of a sense of a normalcy for the spring. Is that how you're feeling now that you get conference play underway and everything for that?
Yeah. And, Dave, we've been super fortunate in that our baseball lives have been fairly normal for a while. Obviously, there's a million things that are different off the field, and some things are different on the field. We're in masks and so forth, but we've gotten used to that. We're willing to do what it takes to play, and we're amongst all the people, in the world that have had to deal with all these challenges related to the pandemic. We are, I think at the top of the chain in terms of some of the most fortunate. We get to do what we love every day with a great group of people, and there's people around us supporting that. So we have zero to complain about. We get to buzz around the field every day and play a kids game. So it's mostly for us, I think, making sure that we're connected to the gratitude that we feel, to all the staff at UMBC, all the families of all of our players, the leadership that we have in the administration that's allowed us to do that. Because, the pandemic's been tough for everybody, and we've had our challenges, but it would be so much more challenging if we weren't able to do this together, and we're just thankful for that.
All right, so let's start to wrap things up here. You got Maine this weekend up in Orono, Albany the week after. Obviously, the focus right now is on Maine this weekend. Talk about them, what it's going to take to come away with the series win up there.
Well, we're going to have to play and particularly pitch more consistently. It's going to be a little bit bigger field. It's going to be colder weather. I anticipate it's not going to be as high scoring an environment, or certainly not. I would say it's not as easy to score in bunches in those situations, which, we've benefited from in the past. It's hurt us a little bit this weekend. We had a couple crooked numbers against us. I think the team that attacks the strike zone fearlessly the most is going to win the series. That's what I believe, and that's what our focus is going to be, because that's the way that we train our pitching staff to pitch in that style where we're constantly bringing the fight to the hitter and forcing contact. And the times that we've done that, we've been really successful. And the times that we've gotten away from it, we've been punished. And Maine will be no different. They're absolutely capable of punishing us when we don't do our job. And, our focus, as usual, is not as much on what they're capable of, but more what we're capable of. And I know our pitching staff is capable of filling up the strike zone consistently. So if and when, we bring that to America East games, we expect to be successful, and we want to start that this weekend.
All right, all sounds good. Coach, thank you for taking the time. Really appreciate it.
Sure. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs. The Retrievers are back in action at Maine this weekend for a 4-game series. They'll be at Albany the following weekend, home the weekend after that against Hartford after the 2-week road trip. You can keep up to date with UMBC Baseball on the UMBC Retrievers website, umbcretrievers.com, and the baseball team's Twitter page at UMBC Baseball.